This is WARBIRD Radio.
On this episode of WARBIRD Radio, we're talking to one of the fastest women in the skies. She's an accomplished pilot, skydiver, aerobatic performer, and air racer. She has over 9,500 hours of flight time and over 1,300 parachute jumps. But get this, she has a PhD in chemistry from UC Berkeley. She's a veteran of Silicon Valley's high-tech industry and about to become a Reno air racer in a P-51 Mustang. Of course, we're talking to Vicky Benzing. She's in the hangar right now at Chino. Vicky, how are you doing? Thanks for coming on WARBIRD Radio.
I'm doing great, Matt. I just got down from flying, so you got me pretty high adrenaline state here.
You know, I tell the story, and it is not one of your, well, it is one of your finest moments. We were talking about it on Show Center, the Air Show podcast with my announcing colleagues, Rick Peterson and Rob Ryder, about that moment in your Super Steerman. And, we were down there at an air show together, and I watched you. I mean, you earned your stripes in my book right then because you were so cool when that airplane rolled over to the left. A little bit of wake turbulence got you. And I'll never forget it. I mean, the nose is down, and Vicky, you rode that thing like a cowboy on a bucking bronc. I mean, it was incredible.
Yeah, that wing got, I don't know, it was inches from the ground, I think.
Well, what impressed me even more than that was how cool you were under pressure, and that's what I think is so cool about your story, is that you went ahead and flew the demo. You calmed it down, and I told Rick and Rob, I said, Vicky is just ice cold. I mean, she's ice cold when she's in the air, and that's what it takes to do what you're doing. And
that's right. You do the job.
Well, I'm so glad to have you on. Let's talk a little bit about your background, and then we'll get into the Reno stuff here in just a few seconds. But you grew up small town California out there, and talk to me about that, learning how to fly.
Well, I was born in Watsonville, which is on the coast, but eventually my father moved our family to Silicon Valley, where he worked in the industry. And I don't know, I as a young girl, my uncle was a pilot and took me flying, and he was bigger than life to me, but it wasn't something I thought I could do until I was in graduate school, and one of my buddies asked me to go skydiving, and I went out and I fell in love with skydiving, and then you couldn't keep me out of the sky. I knew I needed to learn to fly, so one of my dad's friends had a 1941 Taylorcraft, and I went up in that airplane, and the moment I took the controls, I knew that it was going to be a lifelong thing. It was just a passion for me to be up there in the sky, and flying allows you to be up there a lot longer than skydiving. So at first the number of jumps and the number of hours were sort of tracking each other, but eventually the number of hours far outnumbered the number of jumps. So.
I love that. And what a great airplane, the Taylorcraft. I mean,
oh yeah.
That was my first airplane. Was an L2 Taylorcraft 43 model. I mean, what a
mine
great
was a
airplane.
BC-12D. Well, it wasn't my airplane. It was my first airplane was a Luscom.
Oh man, now that's like right. I mean, that's off the high ropes right there with a Luscom. Everybody.
I had all of 40 hours, and I bought this Luscom on the East Coast. And of course, I live in California, and I went and trained with Amelia Reed out at Reed Hillview Airport in San Jose, and I think I had 50 hours when I left to go pick up the Luscom, and by the time I got back to California, I had 100 hours.
Well, this is a Warbird show, and I guess I better mention that you've flown all types of Warbirds, from L-39s and fast jets to, of course, Clay Lacy's P-51 that is now in your care, because it's true. I don't think you own a Warbird. You just agree to pay for it and take care of it and do all these things. Right. You also have
I'm a caretaker until it goes on to the next one.
You also have a Super Steerman, which I love watching you fly. I mean, you're no stranger to any of this. But let's rewind a little bit further, because you can't fly fast airplanes. You can't fly fun airplanes unless you put in a lot of hard work and make a lot of money. And you did just that. PhD in chemistry.
Yeah, I got my PhD in chemistry, and it was probably, a good thing I didn't learn to fly till after I passed my orals. So by then I was pretty committed, and I finished out my PhD, and I worked in Silicon Valley in high tech, and I went from just a process engineer up into the ranks of corporate leadership and held a number of positions, but mainly in technology. So like vice president of technology and that sort of thing.
I love how you just gloss over that. But here's the thing though. So many folks come to aviation because they get this magic dust that happens at airports, especially at sunset, in dark, dusty hangars with some, old buzzard in there that starts spinning these webs of wonder, and we fall in love with this thing that is aviation, and then there's this huge disconnect, right? But there's this huge disconnect, like, how do I pay for this? Because this is so unbelievably right.
Yeah.
So the answer is hard work, and you don't have to have a PhD in chemistry, but you do. I mean, the reality is you've got to work hard and make money.
But interesting, when kids and their parents come up and ask about it, I say, go study STEM, go study, engineering and science, and go get a good job and earn some money, and then you can do any kind of aviation you want. I think that's a great route to go.
And we're at the point now, I mean, your air show sponsor, California Aeronautical University, they'll tell you the same thing. We are at a point right now where pilots are making stupid, ridiculous money. We've all seen the contracts with Delta, with NetJets trying to, it's just out of control right now.
Even starting out, the kids are recruited before they ever graduate, and they have sign-on bonuses. They step out from school. As soon as they get their diploma, they're stepping into jobs. It's amazing. It's amazing out there right now.
Yeah, and I think that's the good news, right?
Yeah.
So the good news is, and that's what I was saving here for right at the end here. The good news is you don't have to, and sorry, Vicky, but you don't have to have a PhD right now in chemistry to own a Warbird.
To earn some good money.
Yeah, you can go fly airplanes now.
Yeah, so the great thing about California Aeronautical University is they go year-round, so the kids graduate in 3 years. They get all their ratings in the first 18 months, and then they spend the next 18 months while they're finishing their coursework training the junior students.
Yeah.
And they get paid for it. They build up time, and so by the time they graduate, they have the hours, and plus they're a Part 141 school, so they get the reduced hours to become an airline pilot, and the airlines are just waiting for them to pop out to snap up.
And it's in California.
It's in California. The main campus is in Bakersfield, California, and they have satellite campuses in Oxnard, San Diego, and Phoenix.
I think that's great. And they have been so
Actually,
great
they have a helicopter school in Phoenix.
That's cool,
amazingly enough, because we're not turning out enough helicopter pilots out of the military, and there's a big demand for those as well.
Yeah, and we always forget about that too, right? We forget about rotor wing and the opportunities that are there too.
And if you think flying a Warbird is fun, flying a helicopter is really fun.
I've never done that. I mean, I've flown in one, but I've never flown a helicopter.
So like you're a little cold, you just land in the field over there, you put your jacket on, you take off.
That's exactly what I hope to go my whole career without doing, is landing in a field, unless it's a chipmunk doesn't like to land in a field, But helicopters are really good at it because they take right off. Right. I keep waiting on my neighbor to come over and do just that because he's got one. But that's fun stuff. And the best part is you can get paid, and California Aeronautical University, a great, great program to go and do just that.
Yes. It's a great program, great school.
Will you just indulge me here and tell me about Wayne Handley? Because I know that you and Wayne Handley, of course, a lot of people are going to know him.
Wayne is responsible for all this for me. Well, at least all the aerobatic stuff, because I did some aerobatic training with Amelia Reed long ago, but then I sort of got busy with my career in Silicon Valley, and one day I took this ride with Wayne Handley in his 300L, and he tumbled the airplane, and we were taxiing in, and Wayne is like, "Oh, this is going to cost you a lot of money, isn't it?" And sure enough, about a month later, I bought an extra and started competing in contests. And yeah, he's something else.
He saved so many lives, and I say this in all sincerity. I have a friend who's a crop duster pilot. I grew up learning to fly at his grandfather's strip, and he got real serious with me one day, and he goes, we grew up knowing Wayne Handley as this incredible air show pilot, but he goes, I watched his videos on how to do turns in a crop duster properly. And he goes, it's undoubtedly saved my life countless times. And he has been so much to so many people over the years.
I don't know if you know, but we both base at Pine Mountain Lake. We have a second home up there in the mountains, and Wayne has had a steady stream of crop duster pilots come and do upset and aerobatic training with him. Pretty much every year in their off season, they come train with him. So I'm sure that he saved countless lives.
Yeah, I mean, just from the videos alone, and to think about going there and doing it with him, I mean, that's kind of a Mr. Miyagi moment for a lot of folks.
Well, he's the coach to the stars,
yeah.
too. I mean, he's
absolutely.
the guy that, yeah, I mean, yeah. And so many aerobatic people came out of the Salinas Valley, right?
Well, yeah, Sean D. Tucker. I mean,
and Wayne and all the people they trained. I mean, yeah, a whole bunch of us. My first air show was one that Wayne organized at a winery in the Salinas Valley. Got paid the case of wine, and that was history.
And somewhere along the way, everybody who does a show and has a great dinner with Sean D. Tucker has to sing Happy Trails. And I don't know where that started. I don't know if Wayne had a hand in that, but there's been a lot of singing in the Salinas Valley over the years. Let's talk too about your aerobatic training, because I've watched you fly your routine in a Stearman. I was just talking to a friend the other day, and I said one of the things I love about Vicky Benzing's Super Stearman Act is you can put that airplane. I mean, I've seen you fly this routine a number of places at Oshkosh, and you have the ability to make that airplane extend. And it's almost as if it grows when it's in the aerobatic box, because it takes a lot of energy to put a Super Stearman in that big of a box. But you come in there with that energy management and the smash to do it. I mean, big, beautiful, incredibly large maneuvers that display so well. And that's not what you think about with the Super Stearman a lot of times.
Yeah, that's what the airplane's really good at, is being right there, show center, big, loud, lots of smoke. It's just a classic air show airplane. And I have to say that learning how to fly aerobatics in it, it's a two-handed affair, because it's quite heavy on the controls. And I work out every week to make sure I'm strong enough to do it, but it's muscling that airplane around the sky for sure. It
doesn't look like it though, but I'm sure it really loads up though when you get up to speed. I'm
yeah,
sure even more so.
I think people would probably be surprised that I pull nearly 8 Gs at the beginning of my routine.
Do you really? That is shocking to me to think that. Wow. No, that is a lot more than what I would have got. I would maybe 5, 6, but 8 Gs. Where at in the routine?
I start with that P loop. I dive in and I do that P loop, and I get back, all the altitude that I started with, and then I point it straight at the ground and come out level, I don't know, a couple hundred feet off the ground, and then I start that 8-sided loop.
Yeah.
And that initial pull for that 8-sided loop, because I'm going so fast, is the pull that's the big G pull.
We'll be sure and call you on the radio right there at Miramar when you're doing that. You just haul that thing back. And Vicky, how's it going up there? You're like Bill Stein, tumbling in the middle of it and talking. I don't know how y'all do that, but what's impressive?
I can't really, because my little push to talk is over on the side of the cockpit, and I have to take one hand off the stick to go talk to you guys.
Right.
So.
Yep. I can
Until
imagine.
I get a push to talk on the stick, I'm not talking.
I loved flying my our family Tiger Moth, and I loved flying that airplane. But at Monterey,
you are so lucky.
Well, but you've seen it. I mean, but at Monterey, where you keep some of your airplanes now, that's not the best tower in the world to do it. But they're very forgiving. They're very kind. But when you push that in an open cockpit biplane and noise goes everywhere, it's tough. So. Good stuff.
That's tough, but those guys are great. I did a lot of my flight testing for when I was flying that Super Legacy at Reno, and we were going fast, and they were like rooting for me.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good to hear, though.
I'd go up there and go real fast, and I'd come down, and the tower would tell me how fast I went, and well, we just won't tell the FAA about that.
We'll just keep that quiet. Let's talk about speed here in just a second. We got to take a quick break. We're talking to Vicky Benzing on this episode of WARBIRD Radio. We'll be right back.
This is WARBIRD Radio. Reminding you that radio engines don't leak oil. They just mark their territory. This is WARBIRD Radio. Tune in. Take off.
Welcome back to WARBIRD Radio. On this episode, we're talking to Reno air racer, Warbird pilot extraordinaire, Vicky Benzing, who is right now in the hangar at the world-famous Plains of Fame there in Chino, California. Vicky, what's right around you right now? Because I'm sure it's just packed with cool airplanes.
Well, I'm sitting right next to Strega, and Voodoo is on the other side of the hangar, and I'm not sure what this is. I think it doesn't have its wings on it, but it might be a PT-22.
Wow.
Oh no, it's a Fairchild M62 PT-19. Oh,
there you go.
There you go.
I can just imagine being in there right now, and of course we're just weeks out.
PT-19. Yep.
And I know your own airplane, which used to belong to a dear friend of yours, Clay Lacy. It's now in your care, and it's just been restored there at Chino.
That's right. And Clay's coming out tomorrow to come and see it.
What's it like strapping on the purple Mustang?
Well, I have to say it's been a while since I flew it, so I was a little intimidated to jump back in it and fly it, but it's fabulous. It's just an amazing airplane. Very honest airplane. Pretty easy to land and take off. Systems are very straightforward. Yeah, it's just a great airplane.
And your plan for your new, I guess, do you have a new name for it, or are you going to keep the same name?
Its name is Plum Crazy. Miss Van Nuys under Clay. And so it's Plum Crazy.
Plum Crazy
is the name I've given it.
Well, that's perfect. Everybody just called it the Purple Mustang, but Plum Crazy.
Yeah, the Purple People Eater, they called it. They called it Snoopy. They called it all kinds of things. They never called it by its actual name.
Well, I started to say, Miss Van Nuys. That makes sense. But I was. Well, anyway, I think it's great. I think it's wonderful that you have it now and it's in your care. What was the first Mustang that you flew?
I flew Crazy Horse 2 down at Stallion.
Oh, yeah.
So I went and did 12 hours in a T6 in the Central Valley, which was pretty fun. And then I went out to Stallion and did their checkout out there. And I flew Crazy Horse
with
2.
Mr. Lee Lauterbach down there, the guy that's got more
that's right.
dead stick time in a Mustang than most people have in it altogether, right? But who did you fly with when you were doing it?
I flew with John Pawson, who's one of the Patriot pilots, the Patriot jet team pilots. And the reason I couldn't fly with Lee is because he was the check airman for the type rating. So I did get to fly with Lee for the check ride, but I flew all the training flights with John.
I think John's probably a harder guy to fly with. He's been on the show. That guy.
He's a great guy.
Well, he's not easy though. Not. I mean, none of those Stallion folks are easy.
Yeah, I had a lot of tail dragger time, so it wasn't a hard checkout. I think they start you out in the back, and then I think after the first flight, I was in the front. So, well,
it's also Vicky Benzing we're talking about here. So let's fast forward now to Reno. What are your plans? Are you going to take it easy, or is this a race engine that you are just going to hell and back with? Where are we at, Vicky?
No. It's a stock engine, and I'm pretty sure I can't talk my husband into buying me another engine, so we're going to take care of it.
He's a pretty nice guy. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it could happen. They're probably not.
It's a stalker, and I guess it just depends on how much the fangs come out on a race course as to how hard I'll push it.
I love it. I had the same conversation with, because everybody, when they said, hey, this is the last year, everybody just wanted to go. And so a mutual friend of ours,
I'm going to
RT's
fly in the
there.
Legacy.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. I know
so,
RT.
So RT's going to have, Swamp Fox up there. And I think it's going to be the year to be there, really. I mean, just to see it.
Swamp Fox and I are on the same pit row. We're going to be like 2 planes apart, or 1 plane apart, I think.
All right. So the winner buys the drinks. That's going to be.
The loser drinks Bud Light.
Oh, there you go. That's even worse. All right. See, I knew this was going to be fun, Vicky. I just knew it, and everybody's smiling right now. All right, so it's going to be a great time at Reno this year, and it's a stock engine. But now your plan is to keep this airplane in front of as many people as you can. I'm told maybe flying it at air shows. Is that?
That's the plan for it. Yeah, that's
maybe Miramar.
Not in September. Not this September. Maybe next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got to get my card in it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I was kind of getting excited. I thought maybe.
Yeah, I know. I might put it on static at Salinas, though.
What a great show! Yeah, that'll be great.
Salinas is going to be an amazing show this year.
So
they have the snowbirds and the thunderbirds.
It's gonna be a barn burner, as they say up there. Well, that's gonna be fun.
And the Red Bull team.
Yeah. Kirby
Peach
and all the guys.
And Michael Goulding. And it's
gonna be a big show.
It's the rock stars. Actually, it might be the people at Miramar who come up north.
I'm looking forward to seeing you, though. And I listen. Best of luck up at Reno. Before you go, though, let's just talk for a few seconds here, because I believe this wholeheartedly. What do you think about, and I want to know, what do you think about when you're getting into that airplane, any airplane? What do you think about those first few seconds there when you're first sitting down and then right before you push that throttle up to go? What's going through your mind?
Well, we're very focused, right? And I chair fly a lot of it, so I kind of know all that I'm going to do before I do it. And and then when I'm going to tell you the truth, I hope that I got the music working in the airplane now, because it kind of calms you down a little bit. And I just get out there and do my thing. I don't know. It's a focus thing.
Yeah. No, I totally understand that. And then emergencies. Lee Lauterbach has said on this show, especially during Safety Month, I don't even know how many times he said this. He always says, you don't rise to the occasion, you sink to your level of training. How do you practice this kind of stuff,
right,
preparing for Reno? I mean, it's no secret.
Well,
that's a tough place.
I will definitely go out and practice simulated emergencies before I get up to Reno, especially this airplane, because I'm going to have to pass a check ride, and part of the check ride is a simulated flame out, or simulated engine out, and they'll call that somewhere on the race course, and all of our training is to pitch to the middle, pitch to best glide speed, which happens to be about gear speed in this airplane. Pitch to the middle, get as much altitude as you can, and then glide for the runway, put the gear out, flaps if you're going to overrun. Just practice. It's just practice.
Well, you're no stranger there to racing, of course, the Lance Air, the
or
L-39.
Emergencies.
Well,
I've had a few out there.
You have, and you've handled every one of them with dignity and style.
Brought the planes back, brought me back. So
yeah. Well, we're gonna have you on for Safety Month one of these times and share all of your trade secrets. Are you willing to dish? I mean, have you heard anything about the future of air racing? I've asked several people this question, and I'm not, no one's saying anything, but it sounds like there's maybe.
Well, I can speak to Sport Class because they just got accredited as a air racing organization. So they will, like formulas, have their own races at different venues. It won't be, a Reno thing where there's 5 classes, but Sport Class will be holding their own air race venues. As for the Reno Air Race Association, I know they have a number of candidates on a short list. we'll see if one of them, ends up being the right one that can support all the things that Reno has. I guess the nightlife, the ability to get there.
Right. Well, some of the places I've heard,
racers,
some of the places I've heard definitely do not have the nightlife, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
I think that's a hard thing, to get the crowd in to make money.
All right.
And
go fast.
Even the Reno Air Race organization has struggled over the years in one of the best venues. So, I'm looking forward to see what happens.
Well, that sounds great. And I'm looking forward to seeing you at Miramar in just a few more weeks. And then again later the following week. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing you out on the road.
Yeah,
again, give them your website so they can find and follow along with everything that you're doing.
Okay. Yeah, it's easy. It's vickybenzing.com.
And on social media, are you an Instagrammer?
CAU does my Instagramming for me.
There you go. All right, follow them, California Aeronautical University.
Well, they post for me on Vicky Benzing, so
that's great. All right, we'll go fast.
They take care of my stuff. Thank you.
Go really fast.
I will.
I mean,
I will go as fast as I can. I'm racing the Lancer Legacy. That's we put nitrous on board that airplane.
See,
so.
All right. Well, take care of Plum Crazy, and best of luck.
Will.
Best of luck
Thank
at Reno.
you.
Vicky Benzing, everyone. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, and share everything on Warbird Radio. We have a number of our past episodes that are up right now, including the Stackler Brothers story. We've got stuff that you've never heard before, and it's just waiting for you right now at warbirdradio.com. Until next time, so long for now.